What if poverty isn't just about how much money you make, but about a handful of habits that quietly drain wealth over decades? Here's the uncomfortable mystery. Millions of people earn more than their parents ever did, live in richer countries with better technology, and yet feel more broke, more anxious, and more trapped. The numbers don't add up. Somewhere between the paycheck and the future, money is disappearing, and not by accident. Tonight, we're not doing quick tips or hustle slogans. We're pulling back the curtain on 5 money habits that look harmless, even normal, but have quietly kept generations stuck. These habits didn't appear overnight. They were shaped by history, reinforced by systems, and sold to us as just the way life works. And the most dangerous part? Almost everyone practices at least one of them, without realizing the cost. To understand these habits, we have to rewind. Not to personal finance gurus or budgeting apps, but to the systems that trained us how to think about money. For most of human history, wealth wasn't about income. It was about ownership of land, tools, or trade routes. Then came the Industrial Revolution. Suddenly, time became money. Wages replaced ownership. You didn't need assets. You needed a job. This shift created something new, the middle class. But it also created dependence. Your survival hinged on consistent income, not long-term control. Over time, banks, credit systems, advertising, and consumer culture filled the gap between what people earned and what they wanted. Here's the twist. Many normal money behaviors today were designed to keep people spending, borrowing, and working longer, not building wealth. The habits that followed weren't accidents. They were learned responses. And that's where our story begins. Habit number 1. Treating income as wealth. Origins. The first habit starts early, believing that a higher paycheck equals financial security. This idea took hold as wages became the primary way people survived. If you earned more, you were doing well. Promotions, raises, and bonuses became the scoreboard of success. But income is a flow, not a stock. It comes in and goes out. Wealth is what remains. The cause and effect trap looks like this. Higher income leads to higher spending, which leads to zero net progress. Psychologists later named it lifestyle inflation, but the damage was already done. For decades, people chased raises instead of assets, mistaking motion for progress. Habit number 2. Using debt to feel rich. The rise. As incomes plateaued and aspirations grew, debt stepped in as the great illusion. Credit cards, auto loans, buy now, pay later plans, they promised access without patience. You could live the life now and figure it out later. And for a while, it worked. Entire economies ran on consumer debt. Homes got bigger, cars got nicer. Spending became a stand-in for success. But debt flips cause and effect. Instead of money serving you, future money gets pre-committed to past decisions. What began as a convenience turned into a dependency. Interest quietly transferred wealth from borrowers to lenders, month after month, year after year. The habit wasn't reckless spending, it was normal spending, financed just enough to never get ahead. Habit number 3. Avoiding investing because it feels risky, the breaking point. Here's where fear enters the story. Market crashes, recessions, and financial scandals taught people a painful lesson. Investing can hurt. So many did the responsible thing, they avoided it. Savings accounts felt safe. Cash felt controlled. Investing felt like gambling. But inflation changed the math. Money sitting still slowly lost value. The real risk wasn't investing, it was not investing. This habit often peaked during economic crises. People pulled out at the worst possible moment and stayed out during recoveries. Over time, the gap between investors and non-investors widened dramatically. The breaking point came when people realized they had worked for decades and still couldn't stop. Habit number 4. Outsourcing financial thinking. The fallout. As money got more complex, many people gave up trying to understand it. Budgets were skipped. Statements went unread. Decisions were deferred to experts, apps, or rules of thumb passed down without context. Someone will tell me what to do. I'll deal with it later. I'm just not good with money. This habit had a quiet fallout. Small mistakes compounded into big consequences. Fees went unnoticed. Bad products went unquestioned. Opportunities passed by unseen. When people stopped engaging with their finances, they lost agency. And without agency, there's no leverage. Habit number 5. Chasing appearances over position, failed fixes. When the pressure builds, many try to fix money problems cosmetically. New side hustles, flashy investments. Status purchases meant to signal success before it exists. These fixes often make things worse. More complexity, more stress, more short-term thinking. Instead of strengthening their financial position, net worth, cash flow, resilience, people try to look less broke. This habit survives because it's rewarded socially. Applause comes faster than stability, but applause doesn't pay compound interest. Fast forward to today. Household debt remains historically high. A significant portion of people can't cover a modest emergency without borrowing. Meanwhile, markets have multiplied wealth for long-term investors. The pattern is brutal and consistent. Those focused on income, consumption, and appearances stay stuck. Those focused on ownership, patience, and leverage pull away. Technology didn't break this cycle, it accelerated it. One-click spending. Algorithmic ads. Financial products engineered to feel painless. The habits adapted, but the outcome stayed the same. Here's the delayed answer to our mystery. People aren't poor because they're lazy or bad with money. They're poor because they were trained by systems, culture, and fear to practice habits that extract value over time. Each habit alone seems manageable. Together, they form a closed loop that's hard to escape. The good news? Habits can be unlearned. Wealth is built on ownership, not income. Income funds life. Ownership builds the future. Track what you own, not just what you earn. Time and compounding matter more than intensity. Small, consistent actions beat dramatic moves. The earlier the habit shifts, the bigger the outcome. Engagement is power. Understanding your money, even imperfectly, is better than avoiding it completely. Attention changes trajectories. Here's the warning. These habits don't announce themselves as dangerous. They feel responsible, normal, safe. If nothing changes, they quietly trade decades of work for a fragile future. The question isn't whether money will shape your life. It already does. The question is whether it will do so by design or by default. If this made you uncomfortable, that's a good sign. It means awareness just replaced autopilot. If you want more deep story-driven breakdowns of money, power, and systems that shape our lives, subscribe to the channel. And before you go, ask yourself, which one of these habits has been costing me the most, and what would change if I challenged it today? That single question might be worth more than your next raise.